going to join us now. And Adam, obviously we've heard the gripes from Deshaun Watson. We know he wasn't happy when DeAndre Hopkins got traded, and there were many other issues we heard about with the organization. They are bringing an African-American coach, but as the fellas just mentioned, he's been in the league 27 years, has never been at the coordinator level. Was this the last straw for Deshaun Watson?
No, Molly, this had nothing to do with it. This request was made weeks ago. It wouldn't have mattered who they hired. They could have hired Vince Lombardi. They could have hired anyone you want. They could have hired Eddie Robinson. Deshaun Watson was going to hold fast to his idea to request that trade. And I don't think it's a reflection in any way, shape, or form about the new general manager, Nick Caserio, the new head coach, David Culley. This is about the owner, Cal McNair. This is about the organization and the way it has been run. This is about Deshaun Watson putting down his foot and taking a page out of the NBA playbook that has increasingly become a part of the NFL playbook, that we've seen players like Khalil Mack and Jalen Ramsey basically tell teams, I'm not going to play for you anymore. And we saw it back in the day with Carson Palmer in Cincinnati. It didn't get quite as much attention then as it does now. But here's a player, a transcendent talent in the prime of his career, who is dug in. And the Texans don't want to trade him and say they're not going to trade him, and that's fine. They're going to have a problem on their hands moving forward. And I would think, in the end, it's a battle they can't win. So eventually, you would think that they'll come to the recognition, the realization that it's best to move on, get whatever you can in return, maximize the return, and turn the page, because Deshaun Watson is saying goodbye to the organization. And you can't boil it down any other way than but to say Houston has a problem.
Adam Schefter, could you provide specifics to the best of your ability, because there's nobody that I would trust more with this? When we talk about him having an issue with the organization, the things that they've done specifically, what is it that has transpired that has gotten Deshaun Watson to this point? What exactly did they do or didn't? What exactly did they do or didn't?
There are probably many things, Stephen A. I'll allude to some of them, and I'm probably not scratching the surface if we're going to be fully frank about it.
Okay.
I can go back to the fact that last year they traded DeAndre Hopkins, and I think he found out about it on social media. We can go back to this upcoming season where they went to him. They went to him and asked his advice and guidance on the direction that he thought they should go for a new head coach, a new general manager. It went so far as him going out to dinner with Cal McNair, the team's owner. And then the Texans hire a search firm, Korn Ferry, that they pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to, and in the end, fire that firm and turn around and lean on Jack Easterby to make a decision that doesn't take into consideration anything that Deshaun Watson said. So they went to him for his advice and then didn't use it in the decision to hire Nick Caserio from the New England Patriots. Nick Caserio, who's waited an awful long time for a general manager job, takes this job and steps into a situation where he has no idea that his quarterback is about to ask for a trade, which he does. And so let me say this also. What Deshaun Watson feels is not exclusive to him in that organization. I can tell you, having spoken to many people in that organization, there are similar gripes, similar unhappiness. Nick Caserio, when he stepped in there, I think it's fair to say, stepped into a burning building. And that building has caught fire even more. And when you've got the face of your franchise, one of the transcendent talents, not just in football, but in all of sports, refusing to play for that team anymore and wanting to be traded, that tells you what a problem there is.
Adam, I think most people would agree that given Deshaun Watson's reputation, if there's a problem with Deshaun Watson, people aren't looking at him, they're looking at the organization, and generally this stuff comes out of dysfunction. So I understand the answer is really both. But if I had to ask you, is it more? What would you answer? Is it more the idea that he was disrespected and the way this was handled was distasteful to him? Or was it more a competitive interest? In other words, the Texans had a very bad record after making a very stupid trade. What do you think is motivating the behavior more between the two?
I think it's a combination of everything, Max. I think that he watches the way that his career has gone. Didn't one of the cameras capture J.J. Watt going over to Deshaun Watson at the end of the season and apologizing for wasting his talents and wasting his season? And I think that that's a mood. I can tell you there are Texans players or former Texans players on other teams who have reached out, who have scoffed at some of the things that they experienced or noticed or saw in that organization. And I think that Cal McNair has allowed things to happen here that shouldn't happen, in the opinion of players and people who are in that organization. And it is basically filtered down to his quarterback, who feels the same way that many other people do. And so there's a cleansing that needs to take place here. And unfortunately for the Texans, it's going to be too late to do that with Deshaun Watson as your quarterback, in my opinion. Because let's play this out. Let's say the Houston Texans say, Deshaun, we know you want to trade. We're not going to trade you. Well, then he doesn't show up. And are they going to go draft another quarterback? Are they going to go sign another quarterback? They have to make some sort of plan at quarterback. But if Deshaun Watson's dug in and refuses to report, they're stuck. And it certainly sounds like that's at the spot that he is. Now, they can call chicken and challenge him and say, we're not going to trade you. You're too good. Where's that going to go? What's going to happen then? And so, again, I come back to this. I think of this all the time. You're Nick Caserio. You're with the New England Patriots. You've been requested to interview for any number of general manager jobs. And you just took the one that was the booby prize. You just took the one with the house on fire. You just took the one where you were stepping into a situation I don't think you had any idea that you were stepping into.
Adam Schefter, I'm looking at the New York Jets. They've got the #2 overall pick and the 23rd overall pick in the NFL draft. Plus, they've got, I think, number 34 in round 2 or what have you. Just using them as an example, if a team out there, assuming, because there's going to be a lot of suitors for Deshaun Watson's services, obviously, what teams do you believe are in the best position to make a deal with the Houston Texans in order to acquire somebody the caliber of a Deshaun Watson?
Well, here's the deal, Stephen A. Deshaun Watson has a no-trade clause. And again, that's something, looking back, that the Houston Texans probably should not have given him. But they did. And so they empowered him. And now that he's got that power, he can help influence where he goes. Now, I think Deshaun Watson is smart enough to realize that if, hypothetically, the Dallas Cowboys were offering 1 first-round draft pick and the Miami Dolphins were offering 3 first-round draft picks, he can't dictate entirely where he goes because he could always say, I'm not taking a trade here or there. But I think the biggest point is Deshaun Watson is open to going to a lot of places. He would go to a lot of different places. He doesn't want to be in Houston anymore. He's done with the Texans. So the question is, where does he go? What would he accept? Who would he turn down? There are certain teams I think that are obvious. The Miami Dolphins have a ton of draft ammunition and capital. And they play for a coach that I think Deshaun Watson would be really happy about playing for.
Well,
the New Orleans Saints, another team, need a quarterback.
How do you blow it with Deshaun
Love to play
Watson, Houston Texans?
Hold on, Max. I got to ask this other question, too, because, again, considering what Adam just described the Houston Texans situation to be, should we stop at Deshaun Watson, or dare we say should we expect something very, very similar in regards to J.J. Watt, who walked over to Deshaun Watson and apologized for, wasting his talents this season? What can you tell us about J.J. Watt in Houston right now?
Well, you'd have to ask J.J. Watt. I'm going to surmise that many players feel the same way that Deshaun Watson does. Many players, okay? I can't speak for any one of them specifically. But to think that they wouldn't feel that way would be naive, okay? This is not just a situation that's unique to Deshaun Watson. There's cancer.
Adam, let me ask you
spread.
this. Yeah, let me ask you this, Adam. Is the Texans organization concerned about their dirty laundry being aired out here in more of these details?
Listen, I don't know how they feel about that. They've been busy running a coaching search. They've been doing that sort of thing. They can't be pleased about it. Don't know.
Max?
Adam, given what we've seen on the trade market, positions that are not franchise superstar quarterbacks in their prime, who are already locked up to a deal, by the way. You don't even have to worry about that right now. You just got to pay them. How many first-round picks does he go for? Like, what is his trade value, are you hearing?
Well, again, what we're hearing and what's reality might be two different things, because I want to repeat, the Houston Texans say they don't plan to trade Deshaun Watson. That's not in their thinking. So we've been doing this for weeks now, we have been saying that they may be in a position where they're going to be forced to trade him. And he did request that trade weeks ago. So I guess the more appropriate question, Max, would be, when do the Texans come to the recognition and realization that they're going to have to do something? And when they do that, what is the market value? Well, again, I think...
Right, is it just 3 first-round picks? Does it start
Probably.
there? Does it start at 3 first-round picks?
I don't know where it starts. Look, again, we're talking about a young, transcendent talent who Dabo Swinney compared to Michael Jordan in the prime of his career, who's an asset in the community and on the football field. Zero character or concern. Zero. The guy you want leading your team going forward. So I don't care if some team gives up 5 first-round draft picks. Where the Houston Texans are at something of an advantage through basically dumb luck is, I could say 25 teams in the league should be making offers on Deshaun Watson. 25, maybe more. So if you just say to all 25, we're opening it up, and again, they're not here yet, but we're just talking hypothetically. We're opening it up. We're going to take the best offer, one that Deshaun wouldn't reject. What do you think a team that needs a quarterback would be willing to offer? Sky's the limit.
Adam, really quickly before we let you go, so for just people watching, because that was a lot of information to unpack, who would you say at this moment has the leverage? Is it Deshaun or is it the Texans?
No, Deshaun Watson has the leverage, in my mind. The Houston Texans can say, we're not trading you, you're under contract, you have to report. But if Deshaun Watson is willing to forego paychecks, and we're talking this then being a situation that would hang over the Houston Texans every single day until the start of the season, every single day, then yes, the Texans would have some power. Do you think an organization that's been excoriated the way they have wants this problem every single day for the next 6 months? No. So the power
Absolutely not.
resides with Deshaun Watson, who has the talent, who has the reputation, who has the no-trade clause, who has the request into the Houston Texans to trade me and get me out of Houston.
Adam, a wealth of knowledge as always. Thank you so much for joining us quickly here on short notice.
Thank you.
You'll continue to keep